It was 1965, and the year was no different when it came to India-Pakistan relationships. A conflict was brewing at the border. Lal Bahadur Shastri was at the helm of affairs, and India was in the spirit Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. It was against this backdrop that young boys and girls would begin their BITS Pilani University journey. There was palpable excitement in the air. As they got off at the Loharu railway station, 10 miles away from Pilani, it felt just as magical as in the scene in the movie Harry Potter. The hissing locomotives getting detached from the rest of the train and their loud whistles all created the mysterious sensation as students stepped onto that dusty platform in the dead of the night. It was 3 a.m. They hurriedly greeted each other as they knew they had a common destination that was just a few miles away. For some who happened to arrive in Chirava, travel was just a little bit shorter. The silhouette of a camel in the distance made them realize they were in a desert. It was the peak of just another hot, sweltering Rajasthani summer. The excitement of having made it to such a premier institute overpowered all obstacles as they sat in the push-start bus of the Pilani Industrial Corporation. The bus needed a push from all the main travellers to start. The bus had already lived its lifespan and appeared to be more than 3 decades old. A dark soothe coming out from behind the bus signalled that passengers could now board. With no lights inside, nobody knew who was who. It was so cramped that the few miles seemed like an eternity. Of course, there were 3-wheeler tempos known as Ganeshji Maharaj and the dozens of cycle rickshaws as alternative modes of transport. The privileged ones were arriving in the only cars available at the time, the Ambassador and the Fiat. Like a lost creature surveying its new surroundings, our first day at BITS Pilani began with going around the campus, checking out the bhavans or dorms, canteens, college halls and the administration offices. 2 tests still awaited the warriors. The so-called interview by the director of the institute or the dean of engineering, and the physical exam by the university doctor, the pants-down test. We were the privileged lot to be part of the very first batch inducted into the program designed by MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. At first, there were no standard textbooks, so we had to make do with cyclo-styled sheets. However, in due time, proper books from McGraw-Hill and John Wiley arrived. The privilege of being taught by visiting professors from the faculty in Boston and being associated with them were inspiring. After the initial adjustment period subsided, there was a feeling of homesickness not unusual for 16 or 17-year-olds, as it was the first time they had been away from family and friends. Then came the ragging part, which was not a torture but more of a fun activity for the seniors. We still remember being ordered to visit Shimla, close to the Orient ceiling fan with minimum clothing. However, it mostly ended on a sweet note as we were treated to samosas and lassi by the seniors. Some eventually would end up becoming our very close friends and mentors. Coming to the food, our canteen food was all creatively named, like Birla capsule for Rajma, Birla balls for Kofta. The Bundio Bujio evening snack was an interesting item on the menu. The dahi parathas, puris and fruit cream on Sundays were a feast. The eating competitions and the ghee-laced rotis made in wood-fired ovens were an unforgettable delicacy. These ghee rotis were made in a special way by applying ghee on the roti with a ball-shaped cloth. The wake-up call was pleasant and special when bhajans like Giridhara Gopala and Darshana Do Ghanashyam used to be played over the Saraswati Temple broadcasting system. Evenings were special too, as we used to walk to the temple for evening prasad and take a dip in the Shiv Ganga, despite it being forbidden. It's a pleasure watching the maneuvering of the glider by Mr. Devecha, the flight instructor. The airstrip was also used to land the specially pressurized DC-3 Dakota of our founder, Shri G.D. Birla. Activities like visiting the dairy farm to see the New Zealand bulls and cows, sneaking into the clock tower at night for that aerial view of Pilani, chasing the ubiquitous peacocks thronging the campus were all so much fun. We got to pin special names on our professors like K.N. Singh for the director, Can for our dean, Kawa for our professor, Nai for our workshop lecturer, Muchu for our workshop professor, Chacha for one of our lecturers, and Hitler for one of our wardens. Evenings would call for visits to local restaurants for dahi samosa, dosa, thali and so on. Weekends would feature movies on 16mm projectors in the quadrangle of the campus in the company of buzzing mosquitoes and insects, with the teasing catcalls of some classmates during love scenes, who in some cases ended up becoming husband and wife in later life. Movies with Sadhana, Nutan, Helen, Asha Parekh and Mala Sinha at the Ganesh Talkies in the sleepy town of Chirava, where the so-called bathroom consisted of a tall concrete wall just outside, which boys had no problem with. Not sure we ever saw girls there. Visits to Nutan Market to satisfy our cravings for non-veg food, especially Teethar at Panditji's, where the dogs would lick the plates clean after each meal and the dishes would be dunked in a bucket of turbid water, wiped and made ready for use for the next guest, all at the cost of just ₹1. These are some of our most unforgettable memories. The holy celebrations full of dancing, singing, garlanding professors respectfully, serenading outside Meera Bhavan, the girls' hostel, with that scary warden whose look was menacing enough to maintain calm and peace at the girls' hostel, we all remember so vividly. An unfortunate event of accidental death of our colleague Mukund brought sadness and anger on the campus. The students held a dharna outside the medical officer's room, with rampage on campus and a truck being set on fire. The ice cream booth was completely emptied. It was all terrible. With the passage of time, the campus got better and became our new home as we developed close bonds of friendship. The third year regrouping gave us an opportunity to develop even more friendships. With the starting of the night canteen, we could hog a second round of dinner at even 11 at night. Meanwhile, the Central Auditorium acquired 2 state-of-the-art 35mm projectors, and the movie Jug Gaya Asman was the first film that we got to view with the new acquisition. BITS also acquired its very first mainframe digital computer, a modern marvel for its day, the IBM 1130. Then came student body elections, and we learned to develop high-pitched campaigns in support of our favorite candidates. There were catchy slogans and music everywhere. Dinesh Kumar was elected our new secretary, and in the 4th year election, Vijay Rao became our student union president. 4th year witnessed disruptions on campus with staff unrest and strikes. Food became scarce and had to be arranged from outside. Finally, the university had to be closed for a while, resulting in us having to cut short our summer holidays and return to Pilani in the sweltering heat to appear for our second semester exams. What lifted the spirits of many was the non-veg food, and now being served in the RP Bhavan canteen. As we reached the last year of our college, we decided to make the most of it by becoming more adventurous. We travelled, indulged in partying, fishing in the Shiv Ganga and cooking in the hostel on Sundays. The Junkers Broadway musical, a radio station, was started using junk parts. The last days on campus were filled with all sorts of mixed emotions, both happy and sad. We had finally graduated, but the uncertainty of the future was a bit daunting. We had indeed graduated from being boys to men. It feels great that all our batchmates have become achievers in so many fields: automotive, aeronautics, aerospace, global telecommunication, finance, academia, research, etc. The list is too long. Going through a rainbow of experiences, we had lived a full life at BITS Pilani. We had not just had an academic education, but also acquired confidence, wisdom, and the courage to face life. There could not have been a better place than BITS Pilani for that. A huge applause and thumbs up. Today, we meet again, some 50 years later, to exchange our love, our affection, our life experiences and our memories. May we be blessed with good health, strength, courage, wisdom, humility, peace of mind, and above all, the ability to respect and love one another for all time. Let this be the memory of this GJM. Jnanam Paramam Bhalam. Om Shanti.